Hey guys, Danny Johnson here, and I just got some new parts for the Mach 1, so I wanted to explain what they were and why I got them. And so, as a backstory, I've owned this Mach 1 since 2010, and when I first bought it, I bought it with a bad transmission, knowing that. And so I got a pretty good deal on it back in 2010 when they were still easily going for $14,000 or so for a regular run-of-the-mill Mach 1. And so I've put a lot of work into this one. I've redone the whole hood. It was rock chipped really bad, so I had it repainted. I did the decal, new chin spoiler, new headlights, Cobra mirrors, 410s in the rear end with 31 spline, all kinds of stuff. And a lot of those videos you can find on the channel. But anyway, it's a really nice car. But the only problem is I don't really enjoy driving it as much as my other Mustangs because it vibrates a little bit. And so it's not the motor mounts, I replaced those. And it's not the transmission mount because that was new at the time too. And so what we're pretty sure it is the pivot ball stud for the clutch. This happened on my brother's Bullet. He chased all kinds of things down just to find out it was the pivot ball stud. So this was a picture of the car back in 2010 when I was changing the transmission on it. You can see it was up in our parents' aircraft hangar. And at the time I did everything new on it that I could. I wanted to make sure that if I was pulling the transmission I wouldn't have to redo that. And so the transmission came in, I went with a rebuilt one, and so is the TR3650 Tremec. It's the same that the Mach 1 had in it. However, it does most likely have a different overdrive gear because the GTs had that compared to the Mach 1s. It was a small change, and it's most likely this transmission came from another GT. But at any rate, I went ahead and I had removed the old bad transmission, which was grinding in just about every gear, and I put a new center force dual friction clutch in it, which I really like. It has a nice pedal feel to it, it clamps really well. And the car had an aluminum flywheel from Spec in it, and the Spec flywheels are a little different. If you look at that center section, you actually unbolt it and remove it, so you just buy the new piece here instead of having the flywheel turned. And so I had bought the new center section there, and I removed the old one and put this one in. And so all in all, though, we think that it's going to be this pivot ball stud, the small little thing that I did not change during the process. And they wear out on the very front of them, so as the clutch fork pivots back and forth, it chews down that rounded area on the left side. And so that can cause the basically the clutch fork to kind of vibrate and move around, and so that's what you're feeling. And I bought a brand new clutch fork for it as well today. And the reason why is the old ones, once they start to wear out, they can fall right off of the pivot ball pretty easy. And you can try bending the prongs back and it just doesn't work. And I was actually a little upset because just before I bought my Mach 1, I had bought a brand new clutch fork for a GT that I had, and I had gone through all that work, and so now that car's gone and I'm left with one that needs a new clutch fork. And even though the throwout bearing has very little miles on it, it's like probably 20,000 miles on it, I decided to get a new one just because if I'm going to pull the transmission, I'll put a new one in there and keep the other one maybe for my GT or something else if I need it. I also bought a new throttle cable, which I'll be talking about a little bit later here in the video, explain why. And so in total it came in at just over $200, and so hopefully this will make the car run nice and smooth and I can enjoy it. I had already changed motor mounts and some other things too, just to make sure that everything's going to run smooth with the car. But here's kind of the problem is this car, the previous owner put on a BBK 65mm throttle body. And as nice as it looks, and it's nice to have it slightly ported, he had also put on a throttle body spacer. And so the two main problems with this is, one, with the spacer, it then extends the throttle body out, so it stretches the throttle cable. And I want to get rid of the spacer. There's really no need for it. It doesn't do anything. And the BBK throttle body, unfortunately, has a lot of vacuum on the back side of it. Just the way that it was designed, you'll see people on forums talking about how they've had to go in and basically kind of mill off some of the throttle body blades so that it can let some more air through. And I even tried it once. I'll make a video on it. With the car parked and stopped without the engine running, you can open the throttle body very easily by hand, or if you're sitting in the car with your foot pedal. But once the car's running, it has so much vacuum on the backside of those blades that you have to really start to push, and finally it opens, and now you're basically flooring it in the car because you were trying to get it going. And so it just isn't very fun to drive because you're gritting your teeth as you're kind of driving around this, pushing on the throttle and just trying to get it to drive smooth. So I did swap out my cousin's stock throttle body on his Mach 1 onto mine, a few years ago, and it drove very nice. So I was going to just go back to a stock throttle body, but then my cable was stretched, and so I'd need a new one, and it was kind of hard to find them for the Mach 1 at the time. So anyway, hopefully these parts can all come together and finish off, the car, make it a lot more fun to just drive around the block and everything like that. Otherwise, it's a great car. It's been very good to me. No check engine lights, and it's always ran very nice otherwise. So hopefully I'll be able to do this and just enjoy the car. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll let you know when these parts come in, and talk to you later. Thanks, guys.